Well, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm glad that you guys can get up here in Lexington, Davidson County, and I'm really excited for. I see some young boys that look like they're 8, 9 years old. Thank you for getting up. I know you have to go to school soon, so thank you for coming this morning. I've always thought that this may be a day that will come soon, where I get a chance to say thank you to the folks that really matters to me, and that's Davidson County folks. You guys really mean a lot to me. I've been around the world, it seems, and who would have ever thought, or thunk it, that a country boy like me, a country bumpkin, would do the things that I've had the privilege of doing. So I want to thank all of you who I see, high school friends, coaches, guys that I played against, whether it's in Thomasville, Lexington. So I just want to thank you. Thank you so much for Billy. Thank you for the invitation. And Coach, you mean a lot to me. I get to see, I had the privilege of playing golf with one of my favorite men of all time, that's Coach B. Jones, on Wednesday. That was fun. I get to see Coach Kearns and folks like that. And so it really means a lot to me. But I want to take at least a second just to acknowledge the most incredible person I've ever met, and that's my mom. She is by far, and I can only tell you, I didn't think that she was coming this morning, actually. She experienced a heartbreaking, sad heart because of her brother, my favorite uncle, who passed away a couple days ago, but she is she's an amazing lady. I remember when I was coming out of high school, 10th, 11th, 12th grade, every Friday night after a high school football game, I would come home. It was around 11:30. I would hang out with some of my buddies, teammates, and I walk into the house around 11:30, 12 o'clock, and my mom would be praying in the back room, and I would hear my mom pray. Mom would be calling out the Lord's name on behalf of me, my dad, my brothers and sisters. She was the most incredible lady. Every Friday night, it seems like at midnight, well after midnight, it seems like we were driving to Lexington from Midway just to go find my dad in some kind of liquor hole. Mom was an incredible lady. She still is. And so I just want to say good morning to my mom, just amazing lady. My sisters. I have 2 of my sisters here, and I think I was the luckiest man in the world. I had the best brothers and sisters in the world. Jackie and Brenda and Coel, and just amazing. My brothers. Anyway, I'm the youngest of 7, so with all of that, I have some great aunts here, and so that means a lot to me. When I was a little boy, I like, the coach read that, but I remember making it to the 4th grade, and I thought that, it seems like the Dallas Cowboys and the Washington Redskins were always on TV every Sunday. And there was a guy by the name of Bob Hayes who was number 22. He only had a route, go deep, right? It just seems like Bob Hayes would beat every single play, and Craig Morton and Roger Staubach would throw him the pass, and that created a dream inside of me. And I just thought watching that on every Sunday, the Dallas Cowboys were my favorite team. Back then, I don't like them now, but I love them then. I just thought that fame, that if I just run after that kind of fame, my life is going to be good. I thought that fame will somehow give me the kind of privileges that I saw on TV, that everything that TV said that would make me happy, the car, the house, the cameras, And I searched after that, and I went after that. I remember before then, 2 years before then, I was in the 3rd grade. It was a week before school was going to be turned out for the summer. My 3rd grade teacher called me over. I don't think she meant any harm, but she says, "Hey, Perry, I talked to the principal, talked to your mom, and we don't think that you're smart enough to go to the 4th grade, so you're going to flunk the 3rd grade. Not only are you going to flunk the 3rd grade, but we believe that you belong in a special class." I remember looking at the teacher, Mrs. Gatewood. Mrs. Gatewood, whatever you do, please don't flunk me. I wasn't really interested in getting any smarter. I just didn't want to be left behind. And when she mentioned the special class, that was a short bus that will come and pick up 5 or 6 students. We didn't even say Down syndrome then. We used the word retarded. There was those kids, those students that looked different. They were awkward and their eyes were different. They didn't talk well. And I thought that was a tough year for me. Flunking the 3rd grade. And that was the year I became dumb. And that was a year where I remember begging my mom, "Mom, you know I don't belong in that class." And that was hard. Unfortunately for me, I had a brother who I dearly loved, Eddie. Eddie was Down syndrome. Eddie walked different. He ran like the Tasmanian devil. Mom would talk about that backyard, jumping over the clothesline. It was Eddie and I that would play in the backyard, and we would pretend. I would pretend that I'm Craig Mortimer, Roger Staubach, and we're in the backyard, and there is Texas Stadium, and I would go, "Down, Sid!" And I would pretend that we're playing in front of 80,000 people. And I would go, "Hi, hi!" And I would fake like the linebackers coming, that there's a blitz and a free safety. And Eddie is my receiver. Eddie is somewhat like Bob Hayes, but Eddie just ran different. Eddie ran real slow, right? So I ended up playing by myself. But I would go, it was such a dream, but I finally didn't make it to the 4th grade. And it was guys like Coach Clump that we had a coach named Coach Pete Chitty. His name is, we had to call him Coach Pete. Don't get ahead of my story. Because his last name was too close to another word. So we had to call him Coach Pete. And Coach Pete was taking me home one day. I finally made it to the 4th grade. It took me a while. And we were 4-0 going into playing at Midway Elementary School, the Eagles. And I was quiet. I thought I was, somewhat shy, because one thing I knew about me, I love sports. I love basketball, and I love baseball. The Cincinnati Reds were my favorite baseball team. Johnny Bench and Dave Concepcion, Tony Perez. I love those guys. Pete Rose. I love the NC State Wolfpacks, even to this day. I love the Wolfpacks. David Thompson, Tim Stock, Monty Towell. And Coach Pete was taking me home from practice, and I was looking out of the window of his car, and he says, "Perry," and this is the first time someone has ever spoken to my life that would cast me in such a dream. He said, "Perry, one day I believe that you're going to play in the NFL, the National Football League." And Coach Pete gave me such a dream that I would go home and my mom would watch me play in the backyard. And I literally would pretend that I'm playing in this stadium. And the only reason that I chose number 22 is because I asked Coach Pete, "If you give me number 22, I'll come out and play football." And he gave me number 22. And that was the dream. If I could just be like Bob Hayes, number 22. And I would honestly just get it. I had a football. Coach Pete gave me an old football, a little bitty football. And I'd get in the backyard and I would go, down, Sid! And I would just pretend, hi! And I would take the football, like Coach said, I'd take the football and I'd throw it real high up in the sky, right? And I would do my dance. And I was like, it's just by myself. I did see Mom look out of the kitchen window. And that's probably the reason why she thought that's the reason you belong in that special class. But Coach Pete gave me such a vision. And I went on and played. Y'all saw some of that. But I remember when I finally did make it there, everything that TV said that would make me happy, I bought. I bought the best looking car that was on the road. I bought the biggest house that was in the neighborhood. Anything that would make me happy, that's what I heard and that's what I went after. I thought fame, I just thought fame would satisfy my soul, but fame tricks you. Right? Fame doesn't give you any privileges, it takes away the very thing that God has given you. And so football became my world. See, this football is only made for three things. You can throw it. I played a little bit of quarterback in high school. You can catch it. It's the same thing that I did at Clemson against Nebraska, where you can kick it. That's what this football is made for. But what I found out 4 years into the NFL, you know what this football is not made for? Many of y'all won't be able to see this. I put it on the floor. But the football is not made to be stood on. And ever since the 4th grade, ever since Coach Pete said, one day, you're going to play in the NFL, I've been standing on this football. I thought it was my identity. I thought it was my security. I thought, this is the thing that people will know me from and about. And 4 years into the NFL, I didn't smoke, I didn't drink, I didn't go to church. And I found myself empty. And on a Wednesday night, I said a simple prayer. All I said was this, God, would you help me? And that was the night I prayed for me. See, when I left high school, I remember we went to church every Sunday at our house. And I could never understood at the time, why would a loving God allow my mom to go through the hell she went through with a man like my dad? There's no way I'm going to serve that God. So I went to Clemson. I was good. I didn't get any trouble. I believed in God. I just didn't, she was the best thing that I've ever knew. My dad, I never did see him in church. It seemed like he was always drinking. And I loved my mom. And so I didn't. So I found myself 4 years into the NFL, empty. And that night, on a Wednesday night, all by myself, I asked God to come into my life. Would you help me? And shortly after that, I was traded to Atlanta Falcons. Met a guy by the name of Steve Orkowski. The first question that Steve asked me was, Perry, tell me about your faith. And I just told him the story I just told you. So, because of all of that, I've been walking with the Lord, trying to do my best to do what He would call me to do and to be for all these years. And because of that, I found myself more and more I read and more I spent time with folks. But about 10 years ago, I found myself not just worshiping and following Christ, I found myself worshiping and following Christianity. Christianity is good, but it's just not Jesus. And I found myself that I wanted to hunger more, that in order for me to be the kind of dad and the kind of husband, the kind of friend and the kind of former teammate I needed to be, I need to know him. And I found myself wanting to know him more and more. And I just want y'all to know I'm not a preacher. I'm not a pastor. I'm just a dad. All I want to, matter of fact, I'm a better dad than I am a husband. And all my biggest desire is that I may finish my race well as a dad. That's all. You know, and people ask me to speak all the time and around the country. And I don't know how many countries I've had a chance around the world. And it's just been different for me. And so, with the time that I have left, and there's only about 10 minutes, I thought about what I wanted to say. And the thing that I want to leave you guys with this morning, other than this, that if you don't know Jesus Christ as Lord, that today might be your day. Today may be the day. I'm not asking you to go to a Bible study. I'm not asking you to go to church. I'm asking you that you will surrender, that you may know him. That Paul wrote a letter to a 13-year-old boy, a teenager, where Paul would say that I may finish my race. That's what I want to talk to you about. And so on Wednesday, I think I told you that I play golf with one of my favorite people, Coach Steve Jones. And playing with my buddy, Mark, Larry, we had something that we call Mulligan. I don't know how many of y'all know what golf is all about. But Mulligan, the term Mulligan in golf is that you hit such a bad, ugly shot that someone gives you a mulligan. It's a do-over. It's a redo. And so I had a conversation with my children. I have 6, by the way. 3 boys, 3 girls. You don't have to moan. Wow. They are pretty high maintenance, I want you to know. But I told my children not too long ago, if I had a do-over, if I had a mulligan, if I could start my walk over with the Lord, I wouldn't tell people about being born again. I wouldn't tell people at the beginning that you need to go to church. I wouldn't tell people about you're doing this wrong, you're doing that right. I would, if I had a redo, if I could start things over again, the thing that I would ask God to give me more than anything, that He would give me the trait of love. The Bible speaks of this, and it says this in 1 Corinthians. Though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels, but have not love, I have become a sounding brass. So I see that a lot today. And though I have the gift of prophecy and the understanding of all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all the faith so that I can remove mountains, but have not love, I'm nothing. If I can have a redo, if I can have a mulligan, and this is what I'm telling my children, if I can just start things over again, I will start with the trait that just gives me love. I picked up this young man. I was on my way to Atlanta. I was going to speak. And I waited until I got to South Carolina to get some cheap gas. So I Y'all done that? So I got into Spartanburg and went to this gas station, and I gassed up, and I was getting back on the highway. And going down the ramp, there's this young white young man, thumbing for a ride. And he had Confederate flags all over his jacket. He looked at me and I looked at him. I'm going, I ain't picking you up. He put his thumb down. He didn't want to ride with me. So I passed him. It was going pretty slow. I got on the highway and I'm going 85 south. I get 2 miles, 3 miles, 5 miles down the road, and there's something inside of me. Maybe it was just because I wanted to feel good about me. But maybe, you know what? I'm better than that. So I thought, let me just turn around so I can feel good about me. And I don't have to think about this all the way to Atlanta. Surely someone has picked this guy up by now. So I turned 5 miles down the road, got off on the exit. Now I'm going 85 north, opposite of where I should be going, to pick up this white man with Confederate flags all over his jacket. And I'm driving up, and there's the exit, and I see he's still there. He's still there. And I thought, you gotta be kidding me. And I'm like, oh, really? And so I get off on the exit, and now I'm coming down the ramp, and I slow down, and he sees me, he put his hands down, and I'm going, I stopped, I rolled down my window, and I said, young man, you need a ride? He said, yes, sir. And I thought, no. So he gets in my car. And so I introduced myself, and he introduced himself, and he looked like he was about 30 years old. And we had a little bit of chit chat, and the next question I asked him was this: hey, can you tell me about your jacket? Can you tell me about your flags? Confederate flag. And this young man started talking about his grandfather. He's on his way down. Before I get there, I remember saying to him, I said, where are you headed to? He says, I'm going to Tampa. Because I know where I'm going. I'm going to Atlanta. That's a 4-hour drive. And I'm hoping that this guy didn't ask me where I'm going. Because I'm going to drop him off in about 10 minutes. And he said, sir, where are you headed to? And I'm this close to just lying. Right? And I said to him, I'm going to Atlanta. He said, yes! And for 4 hours. So I asked him, I said, can you tell me about your jacket? And this young man started talking about his grandfather and his love for his grandfather. And the more he talked, the more I realized that this young white man with Confederate flags did not have a racist bone in his body towards me. I don't know about the other people. And I don't know about his grandfather. But if God can just give me a redo where I would just start with love. Because the Bible teaches me that love is patient. That God would give me an opportunity to not prejudge. That God would settle in my heart the fact that He created him and loved him and died for him, that he may know Christ. That God would settle inside of me. Love is patient, because God has certainly been patient with me. So I've told my children that I want to be slow to criticize and judge. That love suffers long and is kind. And now that I'm older, that my action will be thoughtful. I remember my first day at school. You got to know my brother. I what happened?
Billy can call you.
I remember the first day at school. My brother Eddie. Eddie was just Eddie. I don't know if you've ever been around Down syndrome children. They're just excited, just happy. And Eddie sees me at school, and he goes, Polly, 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 Polly! And he's just screaming, Polly! And one of my classmates look at me and go, do you know him? This is the very first time I realized I can never remember lying. So I lied. No, I don't know him. Love suffers long and is kind and gentle. By the way, let me just give you a newsflash. I've been working with pro athletes for the last 11 years. I've been around them, and I've spoken at a number of venues, a number of corporations on leadership development. And I want to give you guys a newsflash. The person that's sitting to your right lies. So the person that's sitting to your left also lies. So the person that's sitting in your seat lies.
Yes.
I'm not talking about lying the IRS. I'm not talking about stealing. There are days in which you just don't feel like being you. So we lie. There are days in which if it comes to a crunch, you just make up stuff that you don't want to be embarrassed or uncomfortable. I felt that with my brother Eddie. That love is long suffering. And having to teach my children what it means to walk in such a way that we will live above what it means to be comfortable. It's the way to finish a race. And love is not easily angered. And so I can go on. And look, I haven't gotten to my... I'm going to wrap up. Because I want to wrap up by saying something. I remember calling my mom on that Wednesday night and said, Mom, I think tonight I prayed for the very first time. And I said, Mom, I think I invited Christ into my life. My mom says, she's like, she always called me babe, right? She said, babe, and she just started crying over the phone. I'm like, Mom, don't cry. Everything's okay. Come on. And this is what she said. She said, babe, when the season's over, would you start praying for Sam, her husband, my dad? I'm like, Mom, don't spoil this day for me. Don't. And she says, and when the season's over, I want you to come home because I want to tell you why I never, she didn't say the word divorce, but she says, I want to tell you why I never left him. See, my dad, he's embarrassing at times. But I can tell you my mom dedicated her whole marriage of leaving this man in Jesus Christ. The closest thing I can ever talk about today is that what does heaven look like? I don't know exactly what heaven looks like, but if it's anything like my mom. And so because of that, I saw my dad in the last 8 years of his life come to know Christ in his way. And I don't know, other than my bride and other than my 6 children, I don't know if I've ever loved a person like I love my dad. I know he loved me. I remember there was something burning inside of me for all these years, ever since I was a little boy, when I went to Clemson and playing 10 years of pro football. I'm speaking all over the place. And now, can you believe that I'm an author? I'm working on my 5th book. I wish Mrs. Gatewood was here. I just got to wrap up. But there's this burning question that I've always had, and 2 months before my dad died, I didn't know he was going to die. I said, Dad, I remember I came home, just coming in from New York, and drove up to a house in which I had an opportunity of buying for Mom and Dad. And my dad was watching Gunsmoke. He was watching Gunsmoke in that garage. Remember that, Mom? In that brown chair. And I walked up to my dad and I said, Dad, can I ask you a question? And he was like, son, I'm watching Gunsmoke. And I said, Dad, I gotta ask you this question. Do you love me? Here I am. 6 children, speaking all over the place, all these trophies, all Americans, first round draft picks, Sports Illustrated. There was this burning question, Dad, do you love me? I've never heard you say to me, your baby boy, I love you. And my dad, tears started running out his face, and he says, son, I love you. Because it dawned on him that he has never told any of his children, Dad, do you love me? He says, I love you. And I said, Dad, are you proud of me? Look at all I've done. I've never heard that you said to me face to face, you're proud. And I heard my dad say for the first time, he said, I'm proud. And I said, Dad, here's my last question. Would you go tell somebody? And my dad walked across the street. Remember Mr. Charlie, Mom? A white man. I thought Dad was probably one of the most racist men I knew. But I saw my dad walk across the door, knock on Mr. Charlie's door. Mr. Charlie came to the door. He's a good man. And I heard my dad tell Mr. Charlie how much he loved me, how proud he was, and that I was good at something. And if God the Father, and this is what I'm going to leave all of y'all, especially the dads, especially the men. I know this is not Father's Day, but I want to leave you this. If God the Father, the God of heaven, the Almighty God, thought it was important that His Son, Jesus Christ, needed to hear the word, this is my beloved Son, who I am well pleased. I'm proud of Him. If God the Father thought His Son, Jesus Christ, needed to hear that, who do we think we are? That our children don't need to hear, I love you, and I'm proud of you. So today as you leave, get on your phone, text, write a note, go visit. It doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter how old your children are. Go tell them, I love you. Go and ask for forgiveness. Don't live with resentment. Don't hover over bitterness. Take a mulligan. Do a redo. That God would give you the chance of love. God is love. The greatest gift is love. So thank you. Thank y'all very much for inviting me.